dance!
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Fuel and Fire podcast. I'm your host, Faiz Vergy, a writer from the Oil Rig, and Josh is also here as my co-host from the Win Column. And today we have two guests. We have Greg and Alex. Alex is representing the Win Column with Josh, and Greg is over here with me with the Oil Rig. So we're out of the dog days of summer, and we're getting into, I guess, the season now. Rookie camps are about to start up and everything. So I guess we could start with, how's everyone feeling coming into the season? We'll start with the Flames because the Oilers, I think Greg and I are going to have some emotions right now, but you guys go ahead first.
Yeah, I think feelings are a little more positive after Connor Zary signed, that's for sure. I think that was a pretty big concern. I think at this point, it's just kind of a hopeful season for the Flames in terms of hoping the youth takes a step. I don't have high expectations, or I should say I don't have like big expectations. Like if they don't make the playoffs, I'm not going to be devastated. I think that is honestly might be expected. I just think if we can see some progression from the young guys, that's the most you can hope for. So I think getting Zane Parekh into the mix, that's super exciting. That's going to make the games a lot more watchable for sure. So I'm looking forward to that. Seeing if Coronado can make another step after the big contract he signed this offseason. Seeing if Zary can, stay healthy and, get a full season out of him, which we haven't seen yet. So there's a lot of fun, exciting topics around the Flames, I think, just their youth and kind of obviously Dustin Wolf, can he follow it up? So yeah, I think it's a good thing and a bad thing to not have expectations come into the season because it means, your team's probably not the best, but I think it's also, can be a little, maybe easier to watch, having big expectations like a team like the Oilers where obviously it's cup or bust. So you're kind of just waiting till April. Whereas I think for the Flames, we can kind of just watch the youth and then whatever happens. And, just hopefully they don't finish in the mushy middle again. But I think there's some positive things to look forward.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'm just happy that, in a few weeks we're going to get hockey back. I mean, it's been a grind of a summer. There's been nothing going on, after all the insiders are like, oh, the summer's going to be crazy. It's going to be huge. And like we got the Zary signing the other day and Carey Price got his contract gets traded. And it's the busiest day we've had in months. And it's like, oh my God. But no, yeah, I'm just excited for hockey just in general. I mean, I think like kind of what Josh said, I'm excited to see guys like Zary, Coronado. I think the biggest one. I'm pumped to watch him. I'm really hoping he makes a team. But I think out of all the guys, I'm probably the most intrigued by Zary just because I wonder what he can do in a full year. I think before that, he got injured the first time this year when he got hitting, or last year, I should say, against the Ducks. He was playing so well, and the numbers weren't really reflective of it, but he was playing so well. So I'm hoping he can have a injury-free season, a suspension-free season. He did get suspended last year for a couple games, but I think consistency with him is going to be the big thing. But I'm excited for hockey. I mean, I think I'll be more devastated if the Flames don't get like a top 10 pick again. If it's like another 16 to 18, I'll probably be kind of upset. But it is what it is. I'm just, like I said, just excited for hockey to be back.
Yeah, I think a successful season for the Flames, for me, could be either getting into the playoffs or bottoming out. Like one of those two I would consider a success. Can go either way. I think another finish right in the middle would kind of be pretty devastating, honestly, and just feel like another, not a wasted year because they've got, a youth movement going on, but it just feels like it would kind of be another year where we're kind of just spinning our wheels. Whether it's get into the playoffs or finish in the bottom 10, I hope they at least do one of them. And then at least we can say we're moving in some sort of direction for the future, whether that's, okay, we're a playoff team now, we'll build off that, or okay, we're getting a top 10 pick, we're adding to our top 10 prospect pool and getting more youth talent. So yeah, I think anything other than like a mushy middle finish would be ideal. But I mean, let's be honest, that's the way it goes around Calgary.
Yeah.
That's twice now in the last 3 years they've finished in that spot. So I think you look at the roster, they didn't make a ton of, the only really move they made was swapping out backup goaltenders. So really you look at the team and it's like, and the division they're in the Pacific, which, isn't the strongest after the, the top teams. So I think another finish right on that cusp of a wild card spot is probably the most likely for the Flames. We just got to hope that something either goes right that didn't last year and they can get a couple extra goals, get in, or something completely falls off and they end up getting a top 10 pick. I'll be happy with either of the two.
I will say the whole season for me is going to be dependent on this return for Rasmus Andersson.
Yeah, that's another huge kind of just cloud like hanging over the Flames season is just what is going to happen with Rasmus Andersson? Like how is this going to affect the locker room? Because I think it's interesting because the Flames have made a big deal about culture and establishing a good culture in a locker room, which to their credit, like it seems like they've done a really good job of turning what looked to be a terrible situation in 23-24 with so many guys, with one foot out the door waiting to be moved. Everything we've heard is that room was just miserable. And it seems like now, obviously, the players are having a good time. They're happy to be there. Last year seemed like a pretty good vibe around the team. So I am curious to see how this Anderson situation affects that. It is a pretty big deal. And no matter, I'm sure they're going to come out and say it's not a distraction, we're just going to play. But no matter how you swing it, having a guy like Anderson, who's one of your more vocal guys, he's one of your leaders in your room, he wears an A, kind of just be sitting around waiting to be traded and have one foot out the door. I'm curious how that's going to impact them. And I think it's not hypocritical, but it is interesting that they tout culture so much. And then it looks like he's going to be coming into the season. And I think that not going to cause issues, but I think it could cause some distractions that could maybe derail their season to a degree until eventually he is traded. And that's the thing. We don't really know when it'll come. So that's kind of a big thing that's just hanging over them at the moment.
Right. And he seems to be a guy that really wears his heart on his sleeve, like I feel like he can tell when he's upset.
Oh, yeah, 100%. That's another thing, too. Like, I have no doubts he's going to go out and give 110%. Like, I don't think this is going to be a Elias Lindholm situation where, like, from that 23-24 season from October to when he was traded, he was just absolutely coasting. Like, you could tell he was completely checked out. He didn't care. He just wanted to leave. Like, I don't think Anderson will be like that, especially because he's in a big contract here. I think his effort level won't be an issue. I just think the overall distraction is going to be the issue because we've already seen it with the players tour in Italy. When Backlund was there, all the questions are, what's going on with Anderson? Is Anderson going to leave? And as soon as camp opens, as soon as the media gets back in that room, every single player, their first question is going to be, how do you deal with, a leader like Anderson having one foot out the door, et cetera, et cetera. So I have no doubts Anderson is a complete pro. I just think it's tough when you have that situation in your locker room.
Speaking of distractions and media asking questions about just one player, the big story across Edmonton and I think the hockey world is the ongoing Connor McDavid drama and signing. I don't know, Greg, if you have any thoughts, but I know I just wrote an article because, every day there's a new thing. Either it's a new soundbite from him talking about all options are on the table. Yesterday, him saying, long-term, short-term, no term. That last sentence really struck a chord, rightfully so, maybe. But yeah, and I had my article kind of talking about Elliot Friedman's quote of, it's driving him crazy that they lost 2 years in a row and what that means. I know for me, I've gone back and forth. I've gone from, he's going to sign. It's just a matter of time to what the heck is going on here. I mean, you look at Twitter or X, excuse me, these days. And, all of a sudden there's a bunch of people being like, Draisaitl's the new leader, Draisaitl's the captain, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know. I think, you guys had this Rasmus Anderson thing. And then you just had a Zary signing, a Connor signing. So hopefully, we'll have our own Connor signing soon. But I don't know, Greg, what are your thoughts on this whole situation?
Yeah, no, I mean, lots of people have the psychologist notebook and the conspiracy board and the yarn going and breaking down every little quote. But I don't know. I've been thinking about it myself. And for example, we're hearing about Kirill Kaprizov maybe signing with the Wild. And I remember last time that McDavid signed, it was kind of he agreed to a certain number, taking whatever, 500,000 less. But a big part of why the number was what it was is, as kind of the best player, he was a responsibility to his players union to push the top level salary a bit forward. So I wonder how much it's just like, okay, let's try to get Kaprizov signed first so that I can go over whatever that number is, type of thing, and still kind of like fulfill his duty. I mean, we know where the cap is going in the next 2 years, which is different than normal, but I still think that there's going to be this kind of like arms race, especially with the top end stars, of like who's going to earn what, who's going to slot where, that I think like could very well be part of the equation. That's speculation. I think in the meantime, like, live for the moment, man. This could be it. This could be the last year of McDavid. And I think if you're him, that's exactly what you want. everyone in the organization to think. Like, don't
Right.
think that I'm just going to be here forever and that you can coast and not, not do everything that you can,
Yeah.
not dig in right now. You know, like it's kind of like keeps everyone honest in a way that I think is like, because now that there's a new team president, there's a new GM, there's a new coach, everything has changed around him since he's been here. It's his time to like keep all these people in check. You know, like
Well, that's what
his
I was
junior
wondering.
coach and his junior agent, like, nah, man,
Yeah.
I'm in charge. I'm
But like,
gonna
I do
tell
wonder
you.
if it is something like that, where he's told them there's something he wants the team to do, or there's something he needs them to do,
The
and
goalie,
that's what
maybe.
he's waiting on for the signing. But you're also right; it could be this whole NHLPA thing, because if he signs, let's say, 15 million, even if it's just a 1-year contract to give them the best chance to win that 1 year, yeah. If now Kaprizov, Minnesota's going to look at Kaprizov and say, no, we can't sign you for 16 million. Like, this isn't the same as McKinnon or Matthews signing years after McDavid's already signed his contract, and you can argue
Right,
the cap's gone up. This is, they're signing in the same year. So
right.
maybe that is it. Maybe, yeah, maybe maybe he's not sure if he wants to be here. Who knows? I did find it funny that he said he doesn't want it to be a distraction. At the end of the day, it's going to be a distraction if you're not signed. Like, I don't, like, I know he said yesterday, the guys in the locker room, if they, they're professionals, like they'll, like, if they can't do it, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, you saw Ekholm's quote the other day, or I don't know if you saw Ekholm's thing, but he said that, he wants a new contract. He wants to sign with the Oilers, but he understands there's a bigger priority here. So, and I mean, if you're one of those guys, if McDavid leaves, then maybe that does change something for you. Maybe not so much for Ekholm, who seems to really love Edmonton, but like Wallman, he's been here for 3 months of hockey season. Does he want to commit if McDavid's walking out the door? That's a potential issue. So, and the ridiculous thing is, if you look at our defense, we have 3 defensemen signed past this year. You've got Nurse, you've got Bouchard, and you've got Emberson. And then you got 3 of your other defensemen in Kulak, Wallman, and Ekholm that are unrestricted free agents. So there's so much there that can change. And I don't know, some domino has to drop, but I don't know which is the domino that needs to drop first for either side. Like, is it McDavid's wanting to see if these guys sign or if there's a trade? Or is it these guys are waiting for McDavid to sign? I don't know.
I mean, it's and anyone's guess is as good as any. Until then, I think everyone around the league, maybe in Calgary, are you guys hoping that McDavid's moving south this summer?
I mean, it would be great if he left. I mean, everybody was dancing on our grave, whatever, 3 years ago when Gaudreau and Kachuk both left, right? So, I mean, I would love to see Connor leave. I just hope it's not not that I think it would actually happen, but the way the Toronto media is already hyping it up, saying, oh, like, he's going to come to Toronto. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. But I think at the end of the day, it's going to be a deal in Edmonton. I think it'll probably be shorter term. I'm going to say 3-4 years max. He'll give them that time. If they don't win, or even if they win after that, it's like, okay, like I'm done here. I think he'll probably stick around for one more deal, but I don't think it's going to be anywhere over 5 years.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I would love more to see him leave, but I don't see that happening. It just, players like that don't just leave in free agency. Like, it just doesn't happen. Like, I can't even think of the last time. Like, I mean, it hasn't. Like, Crosby would be the most comparable, and he's obviously been a Penguin his whole life. So, like, Ovechkin, same thing. Like, those guys just don't get up and leave in free agency. It just doesn't happen in today's NHL. So, I do agree. I think it'll be kind of like the Matthews situation, where he signed, was it 4 or 5 years? Like, one of those, like, shorter deals where he can still sign another sizable contract, to finish out his career while he's still, somewhat in his prime, or, in his early 30s. So I think that's kind of the route it's going to take, and then reassess. I mean, it would be absolutely hilarious if he bolted for LA or something, but, like, let's be honest, that's not going to happen. And I mean, if he wants to win, he's not going to look at LA and say, oh yeah, if I go there, we're going to win. Like, LA is, I would say, considerably worse than the Oilers. I think even if McDavid switched over, I don't think they're that much closer to a cup than, the Oilers would be with McDavid. So I think it makes sense for him to stick around, give it another few years, see what happens, and then reassess down the line. But yeah, I just don't see any way that McDavid's not going to sign in Edmonton. Everyone makes such a huge deal of it, but it's like at the end of the day, like it's the best player in the world. Obviously, the contract's going to take a long time to sort out. Like this isn't just like re-signing Ryan Lundberg or something. It's like this is the biggest contract in NHL history, probably, or the highest AAV at least. So it's going to take a while to sort it out, but yeah, I don't see him leaving. I just don't think that's going to happen.
I think like you said, if he bolts to another team, that other team's going to have 17-18 million dollars in cap space. So if they have that space, they don't have the players surrounding him that are probably good enough. Like the Oilers have built their team with that budget in mind, whereas other teams haven't. Because I mean, if I was an owner and I saw my GM prepping to be able to potentially sign McDavid as an UFA, I would be like, you're an idiot. Like you're just ruining our team because you're hoping on a hope and a prayer. It'd be like a team basically fully tanking for McKenna or McDavid like Buffalo did, and that really blew up in Buffalo's face, right? Or like Chicago tanking for Bedard. Where is Chicago going right now? So I think that's maybe the bigger thing is, and I think you're right, it's the whole Matthews situation of at this stage he signs, a 4-year deal. The next contract can be a lot bigger because the cap will be up higher and he can sign a bigger deal at that point too. So I'm sure it's those kind of factors. And yeah, like if he signs a shorter term deal for shorter or smaller cap hit, Oilers have a better chance of winning. So
yeah,
I'm sure
I think if you're McDavid and you're looking at, okay, what potential situation could give me a better chance of winning than Edmonton? Like I don't, the teams that you could argue could give him a better chance have nowhere near as much enough cap space. And what teams can give me a better running buddy than Draisaitl? It's like the Avs with McKinnon, they obviously have no space. Like that's the only other Matthews in Toronto. Again, like just the logistics of that's not going to happen. Toronto does not have the ability to make that happen. It's like really, if you're McDavid, where else are you going to go where you can play with a player like Draisaitl? It's just not realistic. So unless you want to go live in sunny LA and you don't care about winning, which obviously it's clear like McDavid that's his main priority. Like he doesn't care. I think it's sign a 4 or 5 year deal, come to Calgary in 5 years when Makar's here, and then we'll start a dynasty in the 2030s. So that's
I wasn't even
McDavid.
I wasn't even thinking about waiting 5 years. The Flames win the draft lottery. They have the cap space. The culture is so good in Calgary. They're just gonna rip McDavid from the Oilers' hands.
Huberdeau's coming off the books around then, right?
No, I don't think that contract ever ends, right?
Imagine
it ends in, I think, 2075 or something.
I mean, Huberdeau was supposed to be McDavid's running mate if they were supposed to go to the 2022 Olympics. I was seeing a lot of roster projections saying that Huberdeau was going to be his. I mean, that would be a good way to revive number 10.
That's a fun theoretical too. Like if you think it like a theoretical, just if it'll never happen in a million years, but if the Flames sign McDavid next year, like I still don't think they would be close to a cup. Like I still don't think they would be. I think they would be close, but I don't think they would be.
They're a definite playoff team.
100%. Yeah, they would be. And they'd be a team that could win a couple rounds for sure.
And we have a goalie.
That was what I was going to say.
You've
got the goalie.
We have a goalie.
Yeah.
And what if Zane and what if Zane's as good as we think he's going to be, and guys like Reshny and all these guys hit?
With that, like prospect pool kind of getting to that top 5 level, I've been kind of thinking about this all summer. Is like the Flames are kind of that one like awesome franchise center away from like, why not? Like what more could you want? It's just that one guy, So
it'd be hilarious. That'd be the summer of all summers. They somehow win the draft lottery, draft Gavin McKenna, and then they sign McDavid, and that's like your McDavid McKenna for the next decade, hopefully. Dream worlds, man, dream worlds.
Definitely dream worlds.
That'd be and then you have Zane just passing him the puck. So Weeds there. Oh,
I feel like you guys buried the lead here. I have a question. Is the mustache real?
No, it was a fake mustache.
Devastating.
Very honestly.
Really thought.
Imagine he just showed up with that duster. That would have been great.
It's like it's worked so well for Stuart Skinner, right?
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Zane seems like the type of kid that will do that for the culture. He'll have a mustache before he has a pair of jeans, apparently.
It looked good. It looked good, I thought.
I don't know. I just kind of going back to the McDavid thing. Yeah, I think, unfortunately, he probably sticks around in Edmonton for a bit because his prime is going to be, I think, a lot like Crosby, where I don't really think his prime's ever going to end. You know, obviously the biggest part of his game is his speed, and eventually he won't be the fastest player on the planet. But I think his mind is so, like, a lot like Sid, where Sid was never the fastest, but he's still putting up 90 plus a year. You know, I think it's going to be the same thing with Connor. He's going to change his game and still be dominant. His prime's going to be whenever he decides to hang it up.
Yeah.
He could probably afford to take that shorter deal. And he's probably looking at it going, okay, Hyman's 34, Nuge is 33. There's not really anyone in the prospect pool, unless Howard and Savoy end up being unbelievable, which they might. I'm not saying they won't. You know, he's probably looking at that too. But like what Josh said, how many other teams have a Draisaitl to play with, right? That's arguably on Draisaitl's best day, the second best player in hockey, right?
Yeah.
So it's an interesting thing, and I think it's going to be, on the Flames' point of view, seeing this play out for the whole year. If he isn't signed by like the Olympics, get prepared, because it's going to be like from when they get back to really whenever the Oilers get eliminated or win. Yeah, it's going to be a discussion right up until the deadline and until.
I don't think they trade him at the deadline regardless.
Oh, no, absolutely not. Like, the only way I can see a potential McDavid trade is if like the wheels fall off the bus and they're not even close to a playoff spot. Then you go, okay, if you're not going to sign, we're going to move.
Sure. Yeah.
Which I still don't think would happen, because one, I don't think the Oilers are going to be that bad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they'll probably start the year 0-4 like they always do, and then go on an absolute absolute heater in November all the way through April. But they're not gonna. It's not going to come to that. I mean, it would be incredible. Like, what would a McDavid trade even look like? I think that's a discussion for another day. But no, it doesn't come to that point. I don't think. He plays this year out as an Oiler, and then they'll probably, from the day the season ends until July 1, they'll be, if he's not signed by then, which I think he will be. I think I'm still of the opinion, as the season starts a month today, October 7th. I think he's signed before.
I can't see him not being signed, to be honest. I think if your whole priority and everything you're saying is you want to win, you want the team to be focused, you want to win, like, as much as you can say like the players don't care, and maybe they wouldn't, every day that's questions being asked. We've already seen it. Like, and I think that maybe is why he mentioned the no term thing as well the other day. I think he's obviously getting a little annoyed, as anyone would be, having to answer this question every day. But it's also like, well, what this is what's coming. So I don't know what you would expect otherwise, but
like, we're all old enough to remember the Tavares year, and it was literally talked about from July 1 of 2017 all the way through to when he signed that day in Toronto. Stamkos, and he signed a few days before free agency opened. It's, you know, this stuff doesn't really happen all that often. You never see really players of that caliber go into a season unsigned and then eventually just sign.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't happen that often. McKinnon didn't make it there. I mean, this year could be different because Eichel's UFA, Prizov's UFA. So a lot of big names that are going to be UFAs at the end of the year, hoping to get signed. We said it as like Marner didn't just do that, but I think Marner's a little bit of a different situation, because I don't think a lot of people, as you anticipate, be staying. You know, do we see a Rantanen situation where they move him just out of the blue? Probably not. Would be wild.
I think,
give me all the chaos. Just, it'd be amazing. Faiz, you'd probably be a little upset.
Just a little bit. I would be, like I said, every day. I was like, this entire summer, I was like, it's all good. It's going to be fine. Even the first few days back at like the train or Canada camp or whatever. And then the last few days, I've been like a little more worried as every day goes on.
I don't know. He goes to the Olympics. You know, he plays with Marner and Stone on the top line. You win
how's Vegas?
Well, you know, Vegas could be a pretty good situation.
Here's the thing, though. It comes back to legacy, and it's, if you're McDavid in your prime and you leave your team to go to another established team, just even though you're the best player in the world, that's not your team. That's not your cup.
No,
that's
you're
not
Kevin Durant.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was going to say. How funny would it be if he signed in Florida? Florida will find a way to make it work.
Of course.
They'll find a way. He'll sign for like 9.5.
Here's the thing. He would sign in Florida, and then the Oilers would win the cup against Florida. Draisaitl would pull a Messier and win the cup. Gretzky never won a cup after he left the Oilers. Messier won 2.
It would be like if Cleveland had beaten Golden State like the first year Durant was there, right?
Yeah, I think
it'd be kind of funny.
The biggest thing is, I think, that causes all the discussion is that McDavid hasn't won yet. Like, you look at Crosby, McKinnon, those guys, they all won within their first like 10 years of before they got to this situation. So it wasn't as much as a discussion that people can throw out there, which I don't think it, like, I think it kind of muddies the waters a little bit because people can start those rumors of, oh, well, they haven't won yet, so he wants to leave. But yeah, like we said, I mean, they've been to back-to-back cups. They came 3 wins away from winning 2 cups now. So it's like, who else are you going to go to that's anywhere close? Like I said, like, even if he goes to a team like the Flames, the Flames would not be a guarantee to win a cup if he went there, and they'd be much worse than the Oilers are now with McDavid on the team. So it's, yeah, I don't see any reason why he would leave, and unless it's just like Alex said, the Oilers just fall off a cliff this year, and he starts looking in the mirror a bit. But yeah, I think it's, unfortunately, he'll be around for a long time, terrorizing us, and we'll just be the little brother for another decade.
I saw Jay Fresh say something pretty funny. It was like, what if the Rangers traded Lafreniere, traded Trocheck, let Panarin walk, and then they signed Kaprizov and McDavid to like matching like 4-time like 16.5.
I did see that one. That was funny. I mean, that's honestly
people are losing.
one of the more realistic scenarios, to be honest. Like, I feel like if it's going to happen, it's probably going to be like a team like LA, New York, like those mega markets or those big, like nice cities that could really make it happen. Again, I don't think it's going to happen, but I think that's probably, if it does, it's going to be a team like the Rangers that are going to do something insane, or LA is just going to give them a stake in like the Lakers or something. It's going to like pull
a bunch of fake tree money.
Yeah, a little
like
Kawhi
that.
Leonard under the table. Here's 35 mil over the next 5 years. Just don't tell anyone if you come play for us. So yeah, no, I think it's he'll be with the Oilers for at least another 3 years at the very least.
Well, I hope you're right.
I don't think
I could handle. I don't think I could handle it.
You wouldn't be able to handle your 2022 Flames era.
Yeah, only the strongest can get through a period.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That.
We
only
made
the
it through
strongest
4 years
can watch
of
Jonathan Huberdeau.
Yeah, we made it through 4 years of Milan Lucic, Johnny Gaudreau, Matthew Tkachuk leaving.
Hey, we made it through 3 years of Milan Lucic.
Yeah,
we share that trauma.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of a shared experience, maybe a shout out to Derek Ryan.
Oh, yeah,
great career.
What a fine wine, making his debut at 29, got both Alberta teams under the belt.
Played at U of A too, big Alberta boy.
There you go.
I remember
Golden Bears.
I remember when the Flames signed him, everyone was like, "Oh, Bill Peters and his boys," and everyone was like, "Oh, he's actually good." And he was. I remember his first year in Calgary was fantastic. I want to say he almost had 40 points. I think he scored like almost 15 goals, like in primarily like a fourth line role. He was great. Derek Ryan was a very useful player for a lot of years.
Oh, and even in Edmonton at the end of his career, like he was great. I was like disappointed he never really got in during the playoffs this year at times. Like he was obviously lost a step, but every time he did get taken out, he'd come back in and would be a little more fresh. I think that was an age thing. And yeah, like I think you ask any Oilers fan, and we've all got a soft spot for him, and great career for him. Playing up 600 games after entering the league that late
is 29 is crazy.
Yeah, that is impressive.
Yeah. He's a good player for a while.
Yeah, in a time in Calgary, I think you could argue he's arguably the best fourth line center in the league.
Yeah,
he was one of those guys who probably wouldn't have got the respect he deserved if it was like 20 years ago, because he wasn't the biggest guy. He didn't put up a ton of points, but then you would go and look at his underlying numbers, and you're like, this guy's putting up like elite underlying numbers, just dominating every minute he's out there. Like, and he's just one of those guys who, and it was 18-19 or one of those seasons the Flames, like, he was a huge part of their bottom six.
Yeah, so, that 18-19 year, that I remember their fourth line, and it was so dominant. It was him, a young Mangiapane, and Garnet Hathaway.
Yeah.
And they were like, for whatever reason, that second half of that year, they were their best line.
Yeah, that's
on a team that won the West.
Thinking back to having Derek Ryan as your fourth line center to what the Flames have now down the middle,
Kevin Rooney.
It's a little depressing, but he's gone now, thankfully. But now we're stuck with Justin Kirkland, and no offense to the guy, but
it might be Pospisil. Pospisil might be the 4C.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest storylines with the Flames, because they have such a logjam.
Our 4C.
Yeah, literally, there's such a logjam at everywhere else. The only really open roster spot, at least at forward, is like the 4C. Everyone else is kind of already locked in.
I would say 4C and the fourth right winger spot, but I assume it's Klapka's.
Yeah, at least to start the season. Yeah, probably has to lose, but
and the backup goalie spot. Is it going to be Krosvatov or is it going to be Devin Cooley?
It is
Wow,
nice,
what a
I'll say, to
fight.
have like a goalie like Wolf, where everyone's like, I could care less who the backup goalie is. Like, it literally does not matter. He's going to play
Yeah.
like 20 games, maybe less. Like, so it's nice to
Hey.
have a goalie like that in Wolves, and I mean, not have to go into the season like the Oilers do, and you don't know what Skinner you're going to get.
Listen,
The
Skinner
Team
said he
Canada
wants to play for
starter.
Team Canada, so we're
Yeah.
gonna get Team Canada Skinner, clearly.
He's going to get absolutely cooked if he's like terrible to start the year, and then
Oh, yeah.
after making that claim about Team Canada. But hey, I don't know. He's proven me wrong before in the playoffs, like when he was just dominating Dallas and stuff. So I
Yeah, if
mean,
we could play Dallas every round and
Yeah.
every game, Stuart Skinner would be a Vezina winner. I don't know what it is about that team. Maybe he just really hates Jake Ottinger and wants to show him up. I don't know.
Yeah.
good. We all hate on during Calgary too. So
Yeah. Thank God they won that series. But do we want to quickly touch on the Zary deal? Because
Yeah, you guys might as well go
Yeah.
ahead.
I can't believe it took all the way till September to get that deal done.
Because 3.78 or 7.7 or something?
3.775 over 3 years. So it's a bridge. He is going to be an RFA at the end of it. The only thing, and I think I've seen it already on Twitter, is Flames fans are already having PTSD because it's basically the same deal as Matthew Tkachuk when he signed his bridge, where it was a 3-year, and then it basically walked him right to UFA. He had one more RFA year, and then he can take his QO, play out 1 year, walk to UFA. So I think people are already kind of having PTSD about it, but I think the deal is perfectly fine. I mean, yeah, I think at the beginning of the year, I remember thinking give Zary a 7-8 year deal with the way he was playing, and in my opinion, completely flipped. About halfway through the year, I was like, okay, give Coronado the long-term deal, which they did, and I'm happy they did. And I was like, maybe you bridge Zary just because this year there were some inconsistencies in his game for sure, and I think Josh, you could probably attest to that too. But the injuries obviously didn't help either. He is still a half point per game player in his NHL career, so we know what he is. He's super dynamic, could be the most skilled player on the Flames. But I don't think you were necessarily able to be like, okay, we'll go 8 years with this player that's only played a max of, I think he played 60 games in his first year or 64.
63 in his first year.
Yeah, it's a hard deal to make. Like, it's obviously different than the Frank Nazar deal in Chicago, where it's like, I think expectations for him are a lot higher than Zary. Right? I'm totally cool with it. They have so many guys in that middle six. Like, I'm looking at the roster right now. It's like Zary, Farabee, Sharon Govich, Pospisil, Klapka, Frost, Coleman. Like, they have so many of those guys in that middle six, and all of their prospects that are coming project to be like those players, like a Gridden, a Misa, a Reshny, a Suniev. Like, there's so many of those guys that project to be like good middle six guys, maybe not a top line guy. Maybe outside of, like, I think Reshny might have the highest ceiling. Yeah. Getting back to Zary, I think it's a good deal for him. I'm super pumped to watch him this year. I hope he can stay healthy, knock on wood. Because when he was healthy last year, I thought he was dynamite. I know the point totals don't necessarily reflect it, but when he was healthy and at full strength, I thought he was great.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with Zary is, like, there's so many, we don't really know what he is. Like, is he a winger? Is he a center?
Right.
A center is obviously a much more valuable position. And then, like you said, he's never played a full 80 game season. He's, we haven't really seen we've seen flashes of it. And, like, at times, yeah, he looks like the most dynamic player on the team. And then other times he's kind of, lost in the background. You don't really notice him. So I think the 3-year bridge deal was a pretty good get for the Flames. Like, it's an AAV that's obviously pennies in the rising cap. It keeps him here until he's 27, I believe. So he's still going to be in his prime. But you lock him up for a couple of years. He's going to be an RFA, so you'll have some team control when it's done. And I think it's a good deal for Zary too, just because coming off the season he had, I don't think he would have wanted to sign a long-term deal, at least at the numbers that he would have been worth. I think Rossi's deal probably made a pretty big hit on the Zary camp, seeing a guy who just put up 60 points signed for $5 million. If you're Zary, you just put up 27, you're in tough to ask for anything close to that. So I think he's got a good deal for himself now to go out and prove it and prove that he belongs to be a long-term part of the future. And, in 2 years' time, he'll be up for an extension. And the hope is that, he can stay healthy. He can get to that peak range, which I think at his best, he could be probably like a 60-point top 6 winger, like complement your guy in your top line, maybe at the very best. And if he can do that, then you give him that big, 7-8 year extension in 2 years' time, and you go from there. But if he never gets there, then it's not a huge dent on your cap. It's 3.8 million. It's I think at his worst, he could still be a good, middle six offensive winger, a guy you can throw on the power play if you need to. So I think it's like you said, it's very weird that it took this long. I think it was probably a case of a player with no leverage, no arb rights. I don't think he was offer sheet eligible either. So like he really had no options. It was probably, I'm sure the Flames kind of just said, this is what we're offering you, like take it or leave it. And that's kind of why it took so long, because there's no reason for them to budge when there's no pressure on them. And it probably got close enough to camp where Zary's like, I'm still fighting for not a roster spot, but a spot up in the lineup. I'm not going to want to miss camp. That's going to set me behind right away. So I think it probably came to it that just sign this deal and then, go out and prove that I'm worth more. And then we can sign a bigger one in a couple of years. And I think it goes back to the Flames situation down the middle. Like we said, Zary has a chance to prove, the Flames, Backlund is Backlund. He's getting up there in age. He's not who he was. Kadri's still their best center, but he's 34 too. Like there's going to be a pretty big opening here down the middle in the top six in the next year or two. I think Morgan Frost probably is more like a third line guy on a good team. So there is room if Zary can prove it to be a center on this team for the long-term future. So I think I'm hoping that's where they try him out. Again, there's a bit of a logjam there because you've got three veteran guys, but I think it makes sense. We saw what happened with Sam Bennett. And I think there's been kind of inklings of a similar situation with Zary, where it's a guy who the Flames haven't really given a chance down the middle just yet. They've kind of been pinholing him into, the wing. He's been playing in the fourth line or the third line. And I think at some point here, you got to put him down the middle and see what he can do. Like you can't shelter him forever. He's been a pro for 4 or 5 years now between the AHL and NHL. So I think he's one of the biggest storylines to watch for me. I think he's a guy who could potentially be a 2C down the line one day. And I think the Flames need to give him that chance and just see where it goes, because we can't run into another situation where Sam Bennett and it's, Zary's contract's coming up. We still haven't used him at center. He decides to leave and then he goes and, becomes a legitimately good second line center for someone else. You gotta give your young guys a chance. Like as much as I don't love Morgan Frost, but as much as I think he's a decent player, I think the priority should be Connor Zary's future and his development over Morgan Frost. Like if you got to bump Morgan Frost in the lineup, then I think you do it. He's not a guy who's going to be here long term, I don't think. I think Zary's one of those guys where you really got to prioritize his development. Yeah, I'm just glad he got signed before camp, because that would have been a pretty big miss on the team's part and his part if he would have missed preseason games or camp for a contract that in the end was just a 3-year bridge deal.
Do you think he's going to get power play one time, or?
I don't think to start the year. I think to start the year, they probably go with the same unit that ended last year, which was Huberdeau, Kadri, Coronado, Frost, and Weegar. But at some point, again, they've just have so many of those guys that like.
Why Frost? That's what I'm saying.
You know what? I like Frost. I like his ability to carry the puck. He's a very good skater. His entry, like when they brought him in and put him on that PP1, it was, I think the biggest thing for him was the zone entries. They would give him the puck, and he's such a fluid skater that like they really haven't had a puck carrying guy for the power play since like Johnny Gaudreau. He used to be just like give the puck to Johnny and let him just burst in the zone. Not saying Frost is on that level, but he has shown the ability to do that. I don't need him on power play 1. I think, I would love to see Zary have some time there, but I would imagine to start the year, it's probably Frost. Their power play was pretty red hot to end the year last year, so I wonder if they just kind of stick with it. Well, we'll see. The one thing I did want to just touch on super, super quick, I don't want to take up too much time, but I wonder if they do see Zary as a winger kind of moving forward. His defensive underlyings have been very, very good. So have Morgan Frost's. I wonder if at some point they try to groom Zary and Frost into like the new age Backlund Coleman, where you can kind of put them in any position or any situation. You can put anyone with them and you kind of don't have to worry about it. I would like to see Zary down the middle, because last year when he did play down the middle before they made the Frost Farabee trade, I thought he was playing some of his best hockey. But I wonder if that's potentially something they do, because even before Coleman, they had Frolik, and it was like if whoever you put back with Frolik, they kind of fit in like a glove there. They did it with Kachuk, they did it with Mangiapane. This year they did it with Coronado. Zary started there like earlier last year. I wonder if they start to maybe do something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a thought I had because they're both really good defensively. Zary doesn't have the play driving that Coleman does, at least not yet, because Coleman's actually a very solid offensive player. He just needs to add that to his arsenal. But I wonder if that's something that they start doing. Like maybe you pull back Backlund's minutes. Maybe you start giving Frost a little bit more of that defensive responsibility. And maybe you throw Zary with him and you just see where it goes. I don't think it would be the worst idea in the world.
Yeah, I think their
But then
situation.
again, Huska.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say I think their situation down the middle is interesting because like Kadri's obviously your number one guy. There's no one close to him for now, and then it kind of gets iffy. Like I think logic would say Frost is probably your 2C, but like the way Huska's used Backlund last year, still like he's still really playing in that 2C role. Like they're using him like that.
Still good. Like he's still like he may not score as many points as he used to, but like he skates really well. He's obviously so good defensively still. If you're a team with playoff ambitions, I mean, Backlund's not the worst guy to have there. Obviously, I think in a perfect role, he's a 3C, right?
Yeah.
But he's still one of the more effective guys that they have in their lineup. I see people saying bump it down to 4C. I'm like, you're nuts. I'm like, you're crazy.
I think, I think in Calgary down the middle, it's kind of like everyone's, for the most part, playing one line higher than they should be. Like Kadri is really a good 2C, not a 1C. Frost is a 3C. Backlund, you can argue 3 or 4C. But because they don't have that elite number one guy, everyone's kind of bumped one row up, and that obviously runs into situations where you play teams like the Oilers or that have those good centers down the middle, where the Flames kind of get victimized. Yeah, exactly. So the Flames, I think that's why at this point, you've got Rezny or Potter and those guys coming. They're still years away. You don't really have any notable centers. At least
don't forget about
centers.
Sam Honzik.
Yeah, well, again, I said no notable centers, so that's why.
Don't say that name. I might cause a riot here in a few days.
What's the
word we're not supposed to use, Josh, around Honzik?
Salvage.
Salvage, yes. Don't say that.
Salvage his
guys.
career. Yeah.
We might get attacked.
That's the thing. It's like they've got this trio of centers in the juniors, like Honzik. Well, Honzik isn't even a center yet. They
draft him as a winger.
He hasn't been good enough to move to center. And then it's like Roy Karen, Sam Morton, like Stromgren, like all these guys, I think probably top out as fourth line. In Honzik's case, he's got a bit of a higher ceiling, maybe like a third line center. But that's again where I'm like, try Zary down the middle. His ceiling is higher than all of those guys at the moment. Like Rezny and Potter are years away. Kadri can only keep producing like this in his mid-30s for so long. Backlund is, his offense is drying up already.
He was already limited to begin with.
Yeah, like you could tell last year he was really slowing down. He's still a great defensive center, but I think you've got not much to lose by trying Zary out. He's clearly your best offensive option, in my opinion, down the middle outside of Kadri. So why not, give him a run, see what he can do, because at this point you don't really have any other options down the middle that are coming anytime soon. And Zary's right here. He's ready to go. He's signed for 3 years now. So give him a shot, see what he can do. If it doesn't work out, then, you move him back to the wing. Maybe in long term, he does become more of a complementary winger. But the thing is, you just got to try. Yeah, exactly. If he is a winger, there's no problem with that. You just got to try him at center, which, again, going back to Sam Bennett, I mean, you could go back to Matthew Phillips, like the Flames, he didn't work out, but the Flames never really gave him a chance to work out. So at least you at least have to see with Zary. Can he be a center? If not, that's okay. You figure it out. But until you really know, it's hard to kind of gauge his spot in the lineup when he hasn't really been given a chance to prove he can be an NHL center so far, at least.
Yeah. Pull back Backlund and Coleman's minutes this year, and just for me, Zary, Frost, Farabee, let them just see what you have in the two Philly boys. Like Farabee especially, he's a guy that scored 20. Give those three guys a lot of runway. Give them a ton of offensive zone starts. See what you have in them, because you need to figure that out. Farabee's so intriguing. I want to see what he is in a full year. I want to see what he is in a full year. I always forget he's on the team because I'm like, oh right, they have Farabee, But there's skill there. He's a good player. Like they just need to put him kind of in a position to succeed. I think pull back Backlund and Coleman's minutes. Maybe throw Sharon Govich with them. Okay, just do what you guys need to do and just let those three guys ride. Just do something. Let them be nuts. I don't know if Husk is going to let him because he's a freaking doorknob. But according to 2 months, he's the best coach in the league.
That's the thing with the Flames. It's just like every time the furthest the session goes on, there's another guy I forgot is on the team. It's like, oh yeah, Farabee. Oh yeah, Sharangovich is on this team. Oh yeah, it's like they have so many of those like middle of the lineup guys who
17 goals.
yeah, like float around at like 15 to 20 goals, maybe less. Like it's just you forget they're here because there's so many of them. It's like, oh yeah, Sharangovich had like almost 60 points, 30 goals 2 years ago. I completely forgot he was on the team. So it's like that's another guy where we're like, can he take another step this year? Can he bounce back? Like there's just so many question marks with this team where it's on one hand, if a lot of things go right and guys like Farabee, Sharangovich, bounce back, Coronado takes a step, like, yeah, this team could be, somewhat decent, where it's like, if that doesn't happen, and then, now Kadri's falling off because he's older, Backlund's falling off, Huberdeau's falling off because they're all in their 30s. It's like, this could be a bottom 10 team. So I really think the Flames could swing any which way this year. They could be better than last year. They could be worse. I think there's a lot of what ifs with their youth and then with their older guys. Like, are they going to step up? Are they going to fall back? So it's going to be an interesting season. I think there's a lot of question marks around the team that it's going to be fun to track and kind of see which way things go. But I think there's just whatever happens, as long as it's not a mushy middle, then I can say I'm happy. That's it.
You might not be happy.
No, you're probably right. We're probably back here in 8 months and we'll be 16th again. So
who's projected at 16th overall this year?
Okay.
Hey, maybe Gavin McKenna has a really bad year at Penn State and he drops to 16th. Would be great.
I mean,
it could happen.
It could happen.
We all know what would happen is Calgary. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Nothing.
Well, I was just going to say, we all know what would happen is Calgary is they would tank this year. They'd come last, and then like the 16th and 15th teams would win the lottery, and the Flames would be picking third overall.
No, we're going to win a lottery for like one of these generational guys, and McKenna's going to be a bust.
Yeah, he'll be the next Patrick Stefan or one of those guys.
I'd stop watching. Honestly, if Parek's a bust, I'm going to stop watching hockey.
I mean, you guys all know that.
Right there with you.
McKenna, like the Penguins are not making the playoffs this year and are going to get first.
It's happening.
Like, that's how it's
they're going from Lemieux to Crosby to McKenna.
Exactly.
The script's been written.
Exactly.
100%. That's going to happen.
It was the same thing with Chicago. Like they went from Taves and Kane and like, the year. So what's the word I'm looking for? So conveniently that the year they traded Patrick Kane, they won the lottery and got Bedard.
Yeah.
Very convenient.
I will say Chicago's one of those teams where I'm kind of like, I don't know where they're really headed. Like it feels like they're still many pieces away. They kind of did. They did the Buffalo Sabres like sell our soul to win the lottery, and they did win the lottery, so good for them. But it's like, I mean, you look at Bedard, he hasn't really taken the steps people thought he would, and I think a large part is because he just doesn't have talent around him. Like you're sticking him with Tyler Bertuzzi and Ryan Donato. It's just I think I think Frondell was a great pick. I think they've got a good better future, but still it's iffy.
If only they had an Ivan Demidov in to play with.
Yeah, that's one of the most mind-boggling picks having a Demidov Bedard pairing would have been you could maybe not at the same level, but that's like close to McDavid, Draisaitl if those guys hit their ceilings. To pass that up for a guy who could be a good defenseman, but still it's just like
I think Levchinov will be good.
Shocking.
The Ducks and Jackets passed on him too, which people never bring them up for some reason.
Yeah. It's always just Chicago because it was such a glaring hole that they had to fill, and they passed.
Yeah.
Whereas like Anaheim, I mean they got Gauthier, but they could have used him too. Columbus, I also am like, you could have used a Demidov.
I really love Lindstrom. It sucks that he's been injured.
Yeah,
and Seneca, we'll see, but Demidov is awesome.
Yeah, it's the same thing with Michkov the year before. He slipped to 7. Yeah. Everyone's scared. Then within a year, he's in the NHL. He has a really good rookie season, and now he looks like he's set to be like a superstar for the Flyers. So it's just like teams overthinking, worrying about that. I mean, I hope the Flames wouldn't do the same if they were in that spot. We don't know because they're never in that spot. But, from what we heard, the Flames are super high on Demidov that draft year. They were kind of hoping he would slip to them at 9. So that's a good sign, I think. And he seems like, Conroy, the way he's drafted, seems like a guy who wouldn't pass on raw skill like that. He would take the risk. So,
They've also drafted a few Russians since Conroy's taken over too, right?
Yeah, quite a few too. Yeah, so that they're generating the Red Army over there in Calgary. So
can't complain about that. Many moons ago.
Yeah, exactly. They're trying to replicate that. They just need to find their Datsuk and Zetterberg in the 14th round. Then
exactly.
And then hopefully Prexter and Nicolitstrom.
Yeah, low bar to hit. Just a few Norses.
Yeah. No pressure, Zane. You just have the whole Flames fan base riding on you to be good.
Yep.
The way I
Well,
kept saying it to like my friends was like, I can't believe my entire franchise is relying on a kid that was born in 2006. I'm like, I'm
I
getting
can't
old.
bring
franchise.
that up.
My entire mental
I-
health is relying on a kid born in 2006.
Yeah, crazy.
I mean,
Time
granted, for
comes for
Oilers
us all.
fans, like we're kind of really hoping on Isaac and Savoy. You know, they were born in what 2000 and
They were, I think they're
2002?
I think they're 02s. No, yeah, they were drafted in 2022.
Yeah,
So I think they're 03
Fours.
or 04. I think.
2004.
Yeah, that was the Shane Wright year. Yeah.
That's
Super quick phase for you because I honestly I haven't really followed Howard that much. What are your expectations for him? Because I know he's
it's hard to say. Like, I think he's such a good goal scorer. Like that's his big calling card. And if he's playing with someone like Draisaitl or McDavid and he gets open, like he should be able to do well in that spot. But he's never played pro hockey before, so it's a hard thing to say. I think in the long run he should be pretty good, but like I have more confidence in Savoy making an impact this year. But I mean, all it takes is Howard to show that his goal scoring is at an NHL level, and as long as he then can keep his head, you know, treading water in every other aspect of the game, I think he can do well. The key would be great if Savoy one of each of them matches with one of each of the centers, because then you've got Hyman, maybe Frederick plays better. I don't know, but you've got the people surrounding them, and then you've got a good lines. We really need them to hit this year, I think, because it would really take a hit to your depth otherwise. I think they're pretty good bets on there. We'll see how it goes though.
anytime you can trade for a guy that won the Hobie Baker, I think it's a decent chance. It's a shot to take.
Yeah, exactly.
No disrespect to Sam O'Reilly, but I think Howard's obviously more NHL ready now, and they need that player now, as opposed to they can't really wait for Sam O'Reilly to be ready.
Well, I mean, the funny thing is, everyone's talking about the Oilers' future, and so we're saying, well, now these guys might not be ready, but they're going to be ready in the future. So it's kind of a catch-22 in that sense.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for both of them. Savoy last year was really impressive in his few games that he played. At the very least, I think he's a guarantee to make the team and make an impact of some kind. We shall see. It's never great when you're relying on two youngsters in your top six as rookies to take your team to the cup, but
It's a lot of
should be
pressure.
fun. Yeah, exactly. No pressure.
Okay,
just
Hyman will score 50 again, and Nuge will throw up 100
Listen,
again.
Hyman last year, after he got a little cold, he came back from that injury and was just on fire. And now he's got the Team Canada motivation again. I think he's going to be good this year to start. I think he's a proud guy as well and really wants to help the team, and he's just that kind of player. So I think he's going to be good, but we'll see. Yeah, and I mean, it's the start of the season, but there's not really much more to talk about at this stage. So we'll see you guys. Well, I guess next week we've got the back-and-back rookie games between the Oilers and Flames. That'll be fun as always, I'm sure. And then after that, finally hit training camp, and hopefully, we're not talking about a speculation on the McDavid contract. We're talking about how we signed for 8 years for $1 million a year to make sure the Oilers can win the cup, but we'll see. All right. Well, thanks so much, guys. Thank you, everyone, for listening. This has been the Fuel and Fire podcast. Check us out on whatever platforms you use for your podcasts, and also check out our blogs, The Win Column and The Oil Rig. Until next time, have a good one.
Sweet.